Hey guys, I'm Matt Asplund and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be diving into something that's absolutely essential for any game developer working in a team or even solo, and that is source control. This video is proudly sponsored by Diversion, a modern source control solution built specifically for game developers. If you've ever struggled with clunky version control systems that weren't designed with game dev in mind, then Diversion might just be what you're looking for. GitHub is kind of the go-to, and I've made videos on that as well, but a lot of people have said it's very difficult to get into and very difficult to understand, and that's because GitHub wasn't made specifically for game development, however Diversion was. So Diversion is a powerful cloud-based source control system designed to handle large binary files like Unreal Engine projects quickly and reliably. It's got a clean interface, supports branching, works seamlessly with Unreal Engine, and best of all, it's built to be incredibly indie friendly. So Diversion have also got a generous free tier that supports up to 5 users and gives you 100 gigabytes of storage, all completely for free. And that is more than enough for many small teams or solo projects. And if you need more than that, then their paid plans scale with your team's size and storage needs without breaking the bank. For example, if you need another 100 gigabytes of storage, it's $10 a month for each additional 100 gigabytes. And if you want to go to the next tier, which is the professional tier, that is $25 per user per month. So in this video, it's going to be a tutorial walking you through exactly how to set up Diversion with your Unreal Engine projects, how to use it day to day, and why it might be the best source control solution for your workflow. So without further ado, let's get right into it and get started. So what we're going to want to do before we do anything else is we need to get the Diversion version control plugin from the Fab marketplace. So I'll leave a link in the description down below to where you can get this, but this is completely free to get. What we want to do now is finalize the installation of the plugin. So we've downloaded it from Fab, we've created our account. Now we just need to make sure we're installing the plugin to the correct version of Unreal Engine. So this is very simple. What you can do is open up the Epic Games launcher, go to Unreal Engine and go to Library. Then you want to search in your Fab library for Diversion. You'll see you have Diversion version control. You want to press install to engine and then add it to the engine version which you are using or which you want to use Diversion with. For me, that is currently 5.4, so I'm going to press install after selecting that. And I'll just wait for this to do it. It should be very, very quick because it's only a small one. And you'll see it's already finished that, like so. And once you have got the plugin from the Fab Marketplace, what we want to do next, before setting up any repositories in Unreal, we need to create an account. So to do that, you can go to Diversion's website, and again, I'll leave a link in the description down below to make sure you're going on the correct link. And what you can do is when you get here, you can obviously have a look about, see why it is the best version control for you, or see if this is the right one for you. You can compare it, see everything like this. But what we want to do to make an account is we're going to go to Get Started up at the top here. And then what we do is you can join with Google or your own email. For example, if you have a work email, that might be best for you. So what you want to do is just put your email into here like so, and then press continue with email or continue with Google if that's what you prefer as well. Once you've done that, you then want to obviously create a password. I'm going to choose my own. So you'll input your password like so and press sign up. You will then receive an email with a verification code to confirm the creation of your account, which you'll need to input as well. Input that and press confirm account. Let it load for a second while it creates your account, and you can see we're now into Diversion itself. So now you can download and install Diversion for desktop. So we're also going to do that. So what we're going to do is obviously choose if you want to install for Windows, Mac or Linux. I want to install for Windows, so I'm going to press download Windows installer like so. I'm then going to save this and then I'm going to run it. So this is just in my downloads. I can double click to run it, and then we're going to be given the setup wizard. So we're just going to hit next, accept the terms of service, next, and then here we're just going to hit install. This is just simply naming the folder. I'm going to leave it as Diversion. It's now installing and setting up Diversion on our computers, perfectly working for us. And you can see it was very quick, very simple, very easy to do. It is already finished. It should auto open like it has here. And now we're going to log in with the account we created a moment ago. So I'm inputting my email here. I'll hit enter, and then I can now input my password as well. sign in, and then once this is done, you can see we're now in Diversion on the app as well. So this is perfect. Obviously, I don't have anything set up on here at the moment as we're about to do that now. So once we've done that, we're going to want to open up our Unreal Engine project that we want to create a repository for. So I've basically just got a fresh, clean project in Unreal Engine and then added in a fab asset into here as well, just so it's populated with something. And I'll leave a link in the description down below as well to the asset pack which I'm using. That's not sponsored, but it's a great pack that I just wanted to show off and use. So again, I'm not in an empty project. And so now what we need to do is we need to actually make sure we activate the plugin in this project. So that's very simple. We can go to Edit up in the top left, go down to Plugins, then we're going to simply just search for Diversion, and you should see it appear here like so, Diversion version control. What we're going to do is tick that, and you'll see at the bottom, you must restart Unreal Editor for your changes to take effect. So press Restart now, and it's going to restart the engine, and then Diversion version control plugin will be enabled in your project. So I'm going to do that, and I'll get back to you once it's restarted. And once we're back into our project, now we want to actually connect to our revision control, or our source control, or diversion. So what we're going to do is in the bottom right, you'll see revision control down here. We're going to click this, then we're going to click connect to revision control, click on provider where it says none, and then we're going to click diversion. And you can see it should now load like this. We've got diversion version, root of the repository, which is perfect. That's exactly where I created my repo. And then we're just going to hit initialize project with diversion. It's going to be initialized in the repository, and you can see there we go. Diversion is now syncing your files in the background. This might take a while. Source control operations will be available once initial sync will be finished. So this might take a while for me because I've got a fairly large project with this in here, but it's not too big, so hopefully shouldn't take too long. And I'm now going to press accept settings. Connection to revision control was successful. Also, an important note for that is you must make sure you are logged in to Diversion before doing that. If you've been following along with this video, you should be, so it should be fine. But if it didn't work, make sure that you are logged in on the desktop app for it to work. And now we should see that if we go back into the Diversion application, we've now got a repo set up here. You can see it was as easy as that, so much easier than doing it in GitHub. So we now already have our local workspace. It's called Diversion because that's just what my Unreal Engine project is named, but this will be named whatever you called your project. We've got all repositories here as well. And you can see as well the progress of what it is actually syncing. So it's currently syncing some assets, and there are 830 odd more to go. So I'll probably get back to you once it has finished doing that. So as you can see now, it is fully synced up. So everything is in sync completely. So what I want to do now is I want to go over how to actually make changes and commit those changes to your repository as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our project once again. And in here, let's just make a new blueprint. So let's go into our content browser. Let's right click, add a new folder, and let's just call this player character, for example. Open this up, and then in here, I'm going to right click, add a blueprint class, add a character, and I'm going to name this one BP underscore diversion character. In here, let's open this up and just make a few changes. So let's add in a skeletal mesh asset. I'm going to add in the tutorial TPP. Let's just rotate him and move him down. Rotate and move down like this. And then let's just add in a little bit of code. It's not really going to do anything. Let's just do right mouse button, add timeline, and we'll do zoom. Again, this isn't doing anything at all. It's just so we have some code and some changes in our project. So there we go. Now we have a little bit of code in a new character blueprint or in a new actor in a new folder. So again, we've got a new folder called player character. We have a new blueprint called BP diversion character, and we've got some code in here. So we've got some different changes made in our project, and we want to make sure that these are committed into our repository. So let's open up our content browser, and you can see the icon on our blueprint has a little blue cross next to it. If it doesn't have that, it probably has a yellow question mark, and to fix that, all you need to do is just save it. And now what we want to do is commit these changes, or this change that we've made. So in the bottom right, we're going to go back to revision control once again, and we want to press submit changes. You see it says waiting for selection of assets to commit, and it has now selected everything that we've added in. So you can see this also has everything from the initial creation of the project as well, and also everything I've imported in too. So let's just create a quick commit message. For example, initial commit and creation of new diversion character. We can then click on commit here, and it's going to be committing files to diversion, and then commit was added successfully. If we now go back into our application, our desktop app for diversion, we can then find our repo, which is here. Mine's just called diversion, and we can view repo. And then once this is loaded, you can see the latest commits here. We've got our initial commit, and then also the initial commit and creation of new diversion character, which is the one we just created. If we go back into Unreal, you can do this as many times as you want. You can keep adding in new assets, creating new assets, changing the assets, deleting them, whatever it is you want. It is this simple. So let's actually do that. Let's modify this asset again. Let's just delete this code. I've decided I don't actually want it. We'll compile and save this asset like so. And then let's also delete a different asset. So let's go to third person, and let's actually delete default third person map. So we want to delete this folder here. You see it's going to delete this map and its build data, resetting files in diversion. And now what we're going to do is go to reversion control and commit changes like so. So you can see everything that has been modified because of us deleting that map and that folder, and also our character here as well. So let's just say removed zoom code in diversion character. And let's also say deleted third person default map. It's always good to be as specific as you can be in the commit messages, especially if you're working with other members of a team, but also even if you're just by yourself. So what you might also want to do as well is put your initials, so MA, just at the top so people know, or give it a title for a quick overview of everything you've done if you're working on a specific system, and then list everything that you have changed. That way it's very easy for everyone to keep on top of and track what has been happening on each commit. So if I do this and press commit, you see it's committing files to diversion. Done, quick as that. Go back into the desktop app and it's already there. Removed zoom code in diversion character, deleted third person default map. But you can also see on these commits, here it says main. Now if you're wondering what that is because we're working on the main branch. So a branch in version control is essentially a different section of the project you can work on. So if we had a branch called tech and a branch called level, what I could do is I could be working on creating code and modifying blueprints in the project, working on the tech branch, while somebody else is working on the project at the exact same time, but just changing around the level, adding in assets, and creating the level that we want to play in. And they're doing that on the level branch. Therefore, we can both be working on the project at the exact same time without overriding each other's work. If you both try to work on the main branch at the same time, only one person's work would be saved. And so that's why branches are incredibly useful and important if more than one person is working on the project. And so this might seem a little overwhelming and a little confusing at first. However, it's actually incredibly easy to understand and use. So what we want to do first is we want to make sure that we close our project. As currently we're on the main branch with the project open, we're on the main branch. So if we're adding new branches and changing branches, we want to make sure the project is closed so that it can actually switch the branch on the project. So that is important to note. Always ensure the project is closed when switching branches. Otherwise, you will have some issues and you will create some conflicts as you're changing over what should be and shouldn't be on the project. Once it's closed, what we want to do is go up to workspace at the top here, and then we want to create new branch. This is now creating a new branch, and the new branch will be branched from branch main, which is perfect with the latest commit we just created. And then we also want to make sure we switch to the new branch, as that's what we want to then work on. So I'm going to call this branch tech, as again, I want to then do all of my blueprint coding on this branch. You can set up your branches however you like, but this is one which I like to do. And we're going to create this new branch like so. You can see branch switched successfully. So now if we open up our project again, nothing will look any different because we've not made any changes on this branch. However, what we can do is now make some changes on this branch and then see how that works. So what I'm going to do, since I'm on my tech branch, is I'm going to create a new blueprint. So let's just go into our root content folder here, just to make it nice and easy to see what we've done. And I'm going to right click, add a blueprint class, create an actor. I'm simply just going to name this BP tester actor, just to show this working nice and quickly. You see it's got a question mark. Let's save. The question mark has now gone. We can go to revision control, commit changes, and you can see we now have BP tester actor. I'm just going to name this commit message, created a tester actor to test out branching. Let's commit this. It is now successfully committed it. We'll go back into the app and we can see latest commit is created a tester actor to test out branching on the tech branch. Let's now close our project once again. And so if we want to switch back to our main branch, what we can do is hover over it, click these 3 lines here, and then switch to branch. And you can see about to switch your workspace to branch main. We're going to switch that. And it says your workspace has pending changes. So what we can do is take the changes with us to this branch. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Save changes for later use, that's fine, or discard changes. Only do that if you know you don't want to keep the changes there. Or you can cancel the checkout. I'm going to cancel and I'm going to reopen the project to make sure that I have actually committed all the changes I wanted to commit. So if I go to revision control, view changes, we can see that we do have a change here. And what it is the project user settings were modified. So if we go to revision control, commit changes, you see no changes to commit. And that is as expected because it is part of the user settings. So what you need to do to commit that is either don't commit it or go into the workspace app and you can see we have another way to commit on the left down here. So you can see we've got the change under config and then the settings here. What we can do is tick this here to make the change, or up in the top left, tick where it says no files checked, one file modified, to tick all the modified files, and then add in a new message. So I can just say modified project settings. So this is another way to commit if you don't want to do it through Unreal Engine. You can do it through the app as well. So we will press commit here and commit again. Now you can see we've got another commit on here. Now if we go up to workspace at the top where it says our current branch, then go down to main, click the 3 lines and switch to branch, we can switch and now it's going to work perfectly. Branch switched successfully. Again, making sure you close the project before doing so. Now if we open up the project once again, we should see the changes that we just made aren't present on this branch of our project. So if we open up our content browser, you can see that actor we just created isn't there. That's perfect because we're now on a different branch. And one important thing to note as well is I am currently on the main branch, or you may have heard it be called the master branch. You do not want to make any changes on this branch at all. The only time you make changes here is when you are merging the other branches into this one, as this is the main one that shouldn't have any changes made to it directly, as this is how you merge all the other branches changes into one project so they can be then used together on the same branch. I hope that all makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to merge. So let's close the project and go back here. We're on our main branch. What we're going to do is open up the workspace, click on the 3 lines next to tech or any branch you want, and then we're going to merge tech into main. You see merge tech main. Choose how you would like to proceed with merging branch tech into main. You want to preview merge, merge now, or cancel. I'd always recommend previewing, even if you're certain it's not going to mess up, which I know I am, because there's only one branch on here. It's still beneficial to preview it anyway. So you can see if we preview it, we can see what assets are actually being changed. If you're happy with it, you can then just press merge. You can also click on these as well to see what actually did change. And again, press merge once you're happy with it. And there you go, merge branch tech into main. Now what you then need to do after that is if you have other branches as well that you've merged multiple into main, you would then want to merge main into the branches. So for example, I would then want to click on tech again and then merge main into tech. Now I don't need to do that because this is the only branch. But again, go back to my other example that I used earlier. If I had a level branch as well, I'd want to merge tech into main, then level into main, and then main into tech and main into level, so that all of the changes made across all of the branches are now on all the branches as well. Again, I hope that makes sense. Basically, anything added to tech should now also be on level, and anything added to level should also be on tech. So again, as I was saying, branches can be a bit overwhelming and maybe confusing when you first start, but as soon as you wrap your head around it and get it and understand it, it is a very, very powerful tool which you should definitely utilize. Now, I've spoken a lot about that when you're working on branches, you want to make sure that you don't create any conflicts, and that also includes making sure you're not working on the same file as someone else. So if I'm on tech and I'm working on our character blueprint, and someone on level is also working on the character blueprint, that is going to cause conflicts. However, Diversion have created something called their auto softlock mechanism. And what this does is when someone else is editing a file that you want to edit, you'll get a pop-up warning when you try to open or save it. But it won't stop you from editing it, it will just warn you and let you know that someone else is using it. So let's go over this a little bit better. Let's actually create another branch. So let's create a new branch, and I'm going to call this one level, as I've been talking about, and we want to branch it from main, and we'll create like so. And now let's stay on level and open up the project again. So we're now on our level branch, and if we open our content browser, you can see we have our BP test actor we created on the tech branch. So let's open this up and make some changes to it, because let's say I forgot I was on the level branch instead of tech, or I'm just not following how to use branches properly, but let's say I make an edit on this when I shouldn't have. So let's just simply add a timeline. I'm not going to do anything much in here, literally just add something in to have a change. Let's compile, save, and close this, and then let's commit this change. We'll go to revision control, wait for it to load for a second, and then commit changes once it's recognized there is a file, and let's just say added in a timeline in tester actor. And we will commit this change. Let's then close the project and then go to workspace and switch to our tech branch. Switch to branch like so. Branch switched successfully, and open up our project once again. Now if we open up our content browser again and try and open up BP tester actor, what you'll see is we get this pop-up here of the auto softlocked asset. Trying to open BP tester actor, a newer version of this asset exists in another workspace and it was automatically softlocked. The file can be opened for viewing and editing, but if changes are saved, a conflict might be created. Proceed with caution. To see who is editing this file, close this dialog and hover over the file in the content drawer. So I understand editing this file might create a conflict. Let me in, and then we'll open for edit like so. And if we were to hover over it, you can see here, file is also edited by me. Don't need to worry about it because I'm the one doing it, but that's perfect because then what you can do is then message that person and say, hey, I've seen you've made changes on this asset. What is it? Is it okay for me to override them? Etc, etc, etc. So I must say that this is an absolutely amazing feature that they've added in. Anybody who has used version control before, especially GitHub, knows that this is an incredibly annoying thing when someone makes a change and they don't say, or they don't even realize they've committed that change, and then you make a change on it as well, and you create conflicts, and it's absolutely horrible. So I love this feature where it just tells you straight up front, if you do something with this, you are going to create a conflict. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something you shouldn't, and that is create a conflict, because I'm doing this to then show you how to fix it and how to resolve the issues if you do make a conflict. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete these two nodes. Warning, assets you've edited are also being edited in another branch. Thank you for letting me know again, but what I'm going to do is ignore you, hit compile, save, and you get another warning, which again is perfect, so you really have no excuse for making these changes by accident. So what I'm going to do is tick it, and then override softlock. Again, you've got no excuse at this point, you've been given multiple warnings, but I'm doing it anyway. I'll close this, then I will submit and commit this change, saying creating a conflict, sorry. And let's commit that change like so. We'll close this, and now what I'm going to do is try and create a merge. So let's open up the main branch, so we'll switch to branch like so. Then open up this again, and then we'll merge level into main. We'll merge now. Merge. And then let's merge tech into main as well. So let's merge now. Merge, and what we'll see is that conflicts discovered and merged. So what we need to do is up in the top right here, you can see merged conflicts. So let's click on that, and you can see which commit actually had the merge, and it was merging from branch tech to branch main. And then you can click on that and see what actor it was as well. So this is again perfect. It tells you exactly what the problem is. So it's BP tester actor. So what you can do is you can see it says added by current modified by incoming. And so what we can do is tick and select what we want to modify, and then we can either choose incoming for selected or choose current for selected, and then or we can abort the merge. Or what we can do instead is do this in Unreal. So we go back to workspace, and then if we open up our project on the main branch. So if we were to locate our asset that has a merge conflict, you can see here we have this new icon in the bottom right of the asset. If we were to right click on this asset, go to revision control, and then click on merge, it's going to open up the merge resolution tool. So these three columns represent the remote, local, and base versions of the file. The remote version is on the left, and this is the incoming changes. The middle column is the local version, and this is what you have in the current branch. So in our example, this is the main branch. And then on the right is the base version, and this is the common ancestor of the two branches. So essentially, what isn't broken between the merges. And if we have local copy here, you can see we click on local copy, it's going to be updating the history, and then you can choose the different revisions you have here, and you can do that for all of them as well. So these revisions here, if you hover over them, you can see these are the different commits that we've done, so you can actually see what they all are, or you can keep it as local copy. So I'm going to leave it as it is at the moment. I'm going to press Start Merge, and you can see that's going to load the selected blueprints and switches to an active merge using your selections for the remote, base, and local. So you can see it says Switch Graph to Diff, and what we can do here is if you press Next on the merge tool up here, it's going to go to the next difference. So if we press that, you can see these are the changes that have been made. So you can see we've removed event tick, removed event actor begin overlap, removed timeline, and removed link to then. And if we go to next again, you can see all the different changes that we've got. And so at the top, we've also got accept source, accept target, and finish merge. Accept source is going to take the changes from the left-hand column. So in this case, that's nothing. So let's go previous again. Let's go here. You can also move around in these event graphs like normal as well. So again, accept source is going to take from the left, and accept target will take the changes from the middle, and finish merge will save the changes and close the window. So in my case, what I want is I want to take the changes from the middle, so I'm going to accept target, and it's going to close it like so, and it is resolving the files like this. Now you can see we're getting this auto softlock again. That's because we are modifying the asset, but that is simply just to fix the merge conflict we just had. So I understand. I'm going to open for edit, and you can see we now have it back working how we wanted it, which is this create timeline code we've got here. So we can close this, and that has worked automatically for us. So let's close this again, go back into the app, and you can see there, this latest merge here is fixing the conflict. So now we have merged into main. We want to merge main into our branches. So let's click on level, merge main to level, merge now, merge, and then we'll do the same for tech, merging main into tech. And this just means that any changes we made on both tech and level are now on each branch. I hope this all makes perfect sense. And so with that, that's kind of the basics covered of how to use diversion, revision control inside of Unreal Engine 5. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you found it helpful and you kind of understand a little bit more about what this is. And if you do have any further questions for the guys over at Diversion, I'll leave a link to their Discord in the description down below, and also I'll leave all the stuff I've mentioned in the pinned comment as well if that's any easier to find. Again, I hope this video wasn't too confusing, you did understand it well. I know that revision control can be a little difficult to wrap your head around, especially when you're first getting into it. But that's one thing I like about Diversion, is they have made it very simple and very easy, as this is made specifically with game dev in mind, and also pricing wise it is made for indies too. But if you do have any further questions, again, I'll link their Discord, and I'm happy to answer any other questions too. But thanks so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it and find it helpful, please do make sure to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help the channel out a lot. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.